While Kirby gives mouth-to-mouth and Nintendo prepares for their Nindy showcase, we are here at Switch Force bringing you Comment Force number 53. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach. Gabe is here, and like always, big thanks, shout out, and a little round of applause for you guys and girls for submitting so many fantastic comments, questions, thoughts, theories, ideas, ideologies, and more into those comment sections. Keep them coming. We love reading them, and we love highlighting a few, and that's just what we're going to do today. But first, because he is such a wondrous man, how was your week, Gabe?
It was full of wonder, Zach. I'll tell you that.
Good.
Full of kitten adventures, full of Splatoon 2. Been playing that a whole lot still. And generally pretty good. What about yours?
Mine was full of bipolar weather, sun, snow, rain, snow, rain, chocolate rain, purple rain.
Ooh,
So a little bit of that.
Rest in peace.
I saw Love, Simon last night. I really enjoyed that film. And I am very much oddly enjoying my Kirby adventure. And we'll touch on that a little bit later. But first, let's get to your comments. And we're going to kick it off with Firestar3836, who has an idea that I can get behind. He says, I would love Professor Layton in Smash. I've played every game, and it is one of my favorite franchises. He is close enough to a first party, and if Capcom can let Mega Man in, let Layton in. Ooh-rah, Firestar. This is what I want to see.
Layton is one of those characters that I could see easily make it into Smash in one form or another. I don't know if he's cool enough to be an actual character. Maybe an assist trophy or something like that. I can see that happening.
Come on, Gabe. That's blasphemous. Isn't that cool enough? Look, this dude's a detective. I thought of all kinds of professions, you would have respect for detectives.
I have all the respect for detectives. Been watching Jessica Jones season 2. A lot of detectiving going on in there. But I just struggle to see what his moveset would be and what would his final smash be and things like that. I can't.
Final Smash would give the other characters a puzzle and they couldn't figure it out.
That's a good one.
He'd tip his hat and that would make people just blush and be stunned. No, I think he could come up with a really cool moveset. I mean, if we can put freaking, what's his name, Ace Attorney in Marvel vs. Capcom, then we can put Professor Layton in Smash Bros. If Phoenix Wright can be in MVC3, you can make a moveset for Professor Layton. The more important question, though, is Gabe is a man not only that is mysterious, but also obsessed with mystery. Yet when it comes to these people that solve these cases, Captain Toad, Professor Layton, you have something against them. So I don't know if that you feel like they're trying to one-up you, or you just wish you could do their job for them.
Only I can solve the mystery, Zach.
Yeah.
No,
all right, Gabe, solve this mystery from Christian Thompson.
Christian Thompson says, honestly, I kind of hated the Subspace Emissary mode in Brawl. Hear me out, though. The cutscenes were the best part of it. However, I didn't think it's required for story mode. It would be nice, but it doesn't need to be there. The gameplay was pretty boring most of the time. Look at most of the maps in the mode. They're boring and uninspired, with maybe some Nintendo enemies thrown in there. Melee's adventure mode, while not perfect, had each level themed around one of the characters, and I loved it. All I really want, but don't need, is a single-player mode that embraces the theme of Nintendo in the form of gameplay and visuals. Brawl got that in cutscenes, but that's it.
I think those are good thoughts. I don't think that the highlight of Subspace Emissary was necessarily the gameplay. I think it was the cutscenes and the fact that they crossed all these characters over in a meaningful way. So I feel like that's what we want. And we'll touch on another comment later today that gets into a little bit more of that. But I think, embrace the theme of Smash Brothers. And they tried to in Subspace, right? The idea of moving these characters through different environments together, coming across bosses and bad guys, they definitely did. But hey, Christian, I like your honesty, calling out that you felt like it was boring, and obviously different folks are gonna feel differently about that. But yeah, I'd love to see them do something a little bit more dynamic, and I wonder if maybe their attempts at Subspace and then Smash Run, maybe it would be better served to just go like the NetherRealm route and have the cutscenes be the focus and the battles stay like just good old-fashioned Smash battles.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. Good old-fashioned Smash battles are pretty fun, and cutscenes are cool. And if you got to get the boring gameplay for cutscenes, and I don't think Subspace Emissary is boring. I'm using Christian's words here. Yeah, I'd much rather have just regular battles.
You know what else we much rather would have had? a way better 5.0 update. Muhammad says, I wish the fake 5.0 leak was real. And I think that was absolutely the consensus. That why was this 5.0? And two, where are the goodies that we expected? I think Nintendo has absolutely lived up to the hype in terms of games and announcements and how they space that out. The system itself, though, is progressing at a far slower pace. And there seemed to be a lot of pushback this time around, Gabe.
Yeah, a point that was made is that 5.0 was an update that Nintendo needed, not for us necessarily. Like, they needed to have this so that people can stop hacking the system. People were getting very, very close to just, homebrew is already on Switch, and we don't talk about that very much here, but
right,
the Switch was hacked, and Nintendo needed to stop it. So 5.0 kind of fixed that, and it was very important for them to get it out, and maybe they just weren't ready for all the other things. I did think about, like, in a joking way, what if, like, 5.12 is, like, the huge update that gives us everything we want? Like, it's not...
like, numbers don't matter?
Yeah, like, numbers don't matter. It's not like 6.0 that's going to be the big one or anything like that. Just, like, 5.13. That's the huge one with themes and music, all that. That the 5.8 leak was too good to be true. We should have known that from the offset, and, a lot of people did know that from the offset. So, I'm honestly not that...
it is.
Yeah, or 5.13. Who knows?
At this point, I think it's September online or bust for a lot of these features. If they're there by then, great. If not, I don't know. I mean, like, is it just strange as heck to think that Nintendo's making major updates in year 3?
No, like, Xbox does stuff like that. I mean, they do it much more often, right? Like, the dashboard is something that, Microsoft focuses on. And Nintendo's not Microsoft. They don't care to be. So,
right.
Michael Robinson.
Themes are just what I want. That's just what I want. Like, I don't even really care about apps at this point.
I never cared about apps. I too
want themes, baby.
I too want themes.
I almost want themes more than... I'm not going to say it. Just because I don't think it's happening. Okay, I'm honest. I obviously want Virtual Console more than anything. But I don't think it's happening. I'm becoming a pessimist on this front. Anyhow, Gabe, this is 53 for 53, so read Michael Robinson.
Michael Robinson says, okay, now listen. I'm 53 and life is good. Loving it. I'm a grandfather 4 times over and married to the same amazing woman for 33 years. My 3 adultish sons are my best friends, and we play Nintendo with 3 generations. Yep, it's all good. P.S. Love your attitude towards life. Great channel, great content, but even better perspective on living. You've got it right. This is so cool.
Yes, very good. Michael, thank you for being a fan. Thank you for spreading Nintendo love across 3 generations. And thanks for, like, playing with your kids and your grandkids. That's awesome. That's freaking fantastic.
And it's also very important. As Nintendo changes throughout the years, there's been a lot of drastic changes in Nintendo. At its core, it's still about fun and family-based fun, right? They have Mario and other family-friendly games. And it's awesome that you are carrying this over and hopefully telling your children and grandchildren about your times when you were young and playing Duck Hunt. And now you see Duck Hunt and Smash, and you can tell them all about how it was when you were a kid.
Absolutely. Toon Fox says, Zach, do you think of Splatoon 2 as a port? Because if you do, and if Smash is a port, you mean it'll be similar to Splatoon 2, then I'm going to buy it. Because that will be enough new stuff for me. First of all, I like your icon a lot. It reminds me of that ghost icon wore a fox mask. That's what it reminds me of. But anyhow, I do not think of Splatoon 2 as a port. I know that was a sentiment going in. Like, oh, is this just going to be a 1.5? There was actually some rumor stuff from some of the leakers saying, like, oh, it's going to be more of a 1.5. But look, it's got a totally new campaign. It's got, wholly new progression, co-op, weapons, and characters. Yes, there are carryovers, but it's as much of a 2 as a shooter is a 2, and Splatoon is a shooter, so therefore you're going to find, a lot of similarity in terms of moveset and, modes. But look, we don't think of every Call of Duty as a port just because there's carryover with modes. So I think the unique single player, I think the unique setting, and I think the addition of co-op, and the unique maps very much makes it its own thing. When I say Smash is a port, I very much mean the Wii U and 3DS Smash with a few things sprinkled on top. Splatoon 2 is built from the ground up, and yes, it shares elements because it's in the same genre, but it shares elements in the same way that like Smash 4 does from Smash 3. So I'm not meaning like Splatoon 2. I very much mean like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Keep that same energy when Smash comes out and it has a new single player and it has new modes and it's very similar in new content to what Splatoon 2 is. Keep that same energy, Zach.
I would love that. I'm worried, but I would love that.
Ibrahim Sharax. I hope I said your name wrong. Correctly, actually. Not wrong. I don't want to say your name wrong.
I hope I said your name wrong. Gabe, that's like one of those like you know how like some people like to be cute will use like self-deprecation, like, oh, I'm just like a stupid silly guy or whatever. Like that's your thing. Like if you can't pronounce a word, like I hope I said that wrong.
Right, that says Sharax, right?
Yeah, I think you actually got it. Okay. Honestly,
we don't need those 3DS games. They are easy to make ports that are on the 3DS to keep the 7 million user base somewhat alive. I don't care that we don't have Luigi's Mansion on Switch. It is time that Luigi gets a proper game he deserves, not a remaster. Imagine Luigi's Mansion 3. Yet, it is similar to Mario Odyssey in that it's fully open world with 1080p 60 FPS, exploring different ghostly areas, with side quests to help residents of the areas that he's exploring with a ghost problem or something, or maybe even have some stuff other than ghosts. That is the Luigi game that he deserves.
So there's 2 points here. One, yes, I would love to see Luigi's Mansion 3. But 2, we don't need those 3DS games. Yeah, last time we talked about, like, why aren't these games on Switch? I guess, like, the difference in thought process here is I'm not saying that, and I don't think you were saying, Gabe, that we want them to be on both. I think we were saying we want them to be on Switch only. I get with the Luigi one, considering it is like a remake of an old game, and maybe like, oh, ports, you know, that just adds to the glut of ports. But like WarioWare Gold is an original title, and I think I was speaking more of that. But even Luigi's Mansion, the remake, like, it wasn't so much wanting the 3DS game also on Switch. It was more wanting just more Switch content, I guess.
I mean, I hate to make a blanket statement for both of us, Zach, but I feel like you feel similar to me, like that we wish that everything was just on Switch and they would kind of just, hey, 3DS, like, we had a run and it was great, but it's Switch now, right? Like, that's what we want. We want a unified platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what our point was. Like, not necessarily 3DS based, because I don't know. I feel like 3DS is done. Nintendo doesn't feel that way. It's clearly not done. They have a bunch of new games coming and games that I want to play. We know that Zach is very excited for Wario. But it'd be so much better if it was just on Switch, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do get the thought of like, hey, we don't need those games because they seem like smaller handheld experiences and we want bigger, bolder things on Switch. Again, like, I guess I'm thinking more of the standpoint of like, okay, yeah, you bring WarioWare to Switch, but you expand upon it, not like, oh, verbatim that game. I mean, I'd be fine if it was verbatim that game, but more like, why isn't WarioWare being made for Switch, I guess. But absolutely, yes, you do need to keep that 70 million user base alive, and clearly Nintendo is very committed to that. Also, Luigi's Mansion 3 would be fun. And
from the genesis of Switch, I always said that I wanted like smaller experiences on there, sort of what like Spirit Tracks is. Not that that's like a small game, but it's not a major Zelda. I want stuff like that at a smaller price. Why can't we have like little like side adventures? You know, a 2D Metroid is something that comes to mind. Yes, Metroid Prime 4 is coming, but why not something else that's, you know, same franchises but made by different studios and on a smaller scale and for less money?
Yeah, I think you just have to be careful, and probably one of the concerns for Nintendo is like, we don't want to compromise our ability to sell and push and promote tentpole $60 titles if we start bringing Nintendo characters into a cheaper price tier. Does that make consumers say, hey, I'm just going to buy these and not invest in the bigger titles? And what does it do to a platform that is being advertised as a home console if you start having more and more budget-priced experiences?
I feel like consumers,
as the first party, as the platform holder,
yeah, consumers are like very well informed now, right? Like, people would know the difference between a hypothetical Spirit Tracks like Zelda and Breath of the Wild. Like, they know, and playing one isn't going to deter them from playing the other. Like, fans of Zelda understand these things, and I feel like fans of Nintendo understand these things. Unless like parents and stuff is the only thing I can think of, but yeah, I don't know how much of a hit you would even be taking there. It's just an interesting conversation, I guess.
I think it's like just a mindset thing. If you start seeing like Metroid and Donkey Kong on the eShop, or even a Zelda for 30, like, then does it dilute and devalue the brands? Does it dilute and devalue the franchises? And look, I'm all for it. I wish there was a way, and I still kind of hope that eventually there is a unification and we would get something akin to Minish Cap or Phantom Hourglass on the Switch as a download or as a mid-tier price. I think it just becomes very tricky.
Yeah.
When you look at like the sort of the marketing and the monetary side of things. But anyways, Cyan _ says, do you think a Smash character could be announced at next week's Nindies Direct, like Shovel Knight or Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes?
No way.
I don't think we're to that point yet for Smash.
No, and the reason I chose this comment, I wanted to have a conversation about this. People are now just Smash everything, and that's funny just to say. But yeah, Smash is coming, and it's like super exciting. But I don't think Nintendo should make that its sole focus. Obviously, this is a Nindies presentation, so Indies are going to have the spotlight, and having something like Smash be like introduced in any way, even though I do think Shovel Knight ends up being in Smash, this isn't the place for it, because then you overshadow everything else that you showed.
I mean, if we were later in the year approaching Smash release, I would not be surprised to see that, because I don't think a final trailer of Shovel Knight overshadows. They're not going to come in there and say like, hey, let's talk about some new features for Smash. I don't think like a character trailer. I think if anything, all that does is get people more hyped about Indies, and it shows that there is more weight and value to the characters, the games, the presentation. I just think we're way too early in the cycle for that. I don't think we hear about Smash
Till E3.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that it's like that was like their announcement, and to get people like excited, and also show like, hey, big stuff is coming this fall. But I don't think that we really get anything more. Until E3, I'm pretty. I feel confident in that.
I agree with you. And speaking on indies, I Like My L's says, I don't know why everyone is upset. These indie games are the ones that are helping the Switch. Without these indies, the Switch might as well be the Wii U. That's such a good point. I mean, I don't want to compare it to the Wii U, but without all these indies, we're just not getting a ton of releases.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for better or worse, the indie scene is what is fueling there being stuff on Switch every week. Without it, that would not be the case, and you'd have a lot of spells, of dry spells. I do think eventually Nintendo needs to add more mainstream and major releases on a regular basis. Right now, that's not the case. I hope that eventually it's the case. I don't see how it could not be the case once the system pushes into the 20, 30, 40, 50 million units sold statistic. Like, how could you not at that point? And people will want a piece of that puzzle. It's much easier to publish and put out an indie game on the eShop than it is a physical product. But yeah, like right now, they are not only helping the Switch fill the calendar, but they're helping sell the Switch. They're helping keep the Switch very fresh. And I don't think we ever run the risk of indies overtaking the Switch or being the sole reason for existence, sort of how the Vita eventually in its recent years, or maybe even forever, has been like an indie platform without a whole lot of even first-party support, because we know that Nintendo is going to, at the very bare minimum, deliver excellent first-party support. They have proved that. They have shown that. Even with the Wii U, great lineup of exclusives. It's just sort of more about balancing that out, I feel. And as we see and achieve more balance, I don't think the indies upset people as much. It's just like, hey, we got Bayonetta and we got Kirby, and Labo's kind of a game, but basically Q1 and even into Q2 with April, like not a whole lot from the like Walmart, Target, GameStop Switch buyer perspective. And that is where I think the issue resides. As long as you have those titles, and we hope they start coming after E3, then I don't think this is an issue.
Yeah, and to be honest, and Zach, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not like every other platform right now and at this time of the calendar year is getting all these like releases. It's just a slow period for games in general.
Yes, it is. We're still seeing like, lack of a better term, mid-tier games like Kingdom Come Deliverance. There's been some recent racing titles, and we're approaching Far Cry. And yeah, it's not like every week there's some big hitter. There just are more touchstones, more lily pads to leap from, if you will.
Yeah.
It is St. Patrick's Day, so I wanted to bring some green into this. And we'll get a little greener with coming from good old Bulbasaur and Raging Red, who says if we get ARMS 2, they should have each character have a different special and not just the same basic rush attack.
This got me to thinking about, our conversations about ARMS 2. We had the creator of the game talking about the potential of a sequel, and he said that he would love to continue with the story of ARMS and things of that nature. We have a video of that you can go check out. But this is a good point. Why didn't each character just have a different special? Even that I feel like would help.
Yeah, I think variety, definitely comes into play. I wonder if in a 3D space the balance is more difficult, as opposed to side-scrolling 2D. There's less to juggle, quite literally. They were slightly different. Maybe more visually than. Never mind. It's the arms that I guess.
Yeah, the arms are different, but yeah.
So I guess you're saying and sort of that's maybe more of an ideological, overarching philosophy change. Like the characters be more defined than the arms themselves, because right now you have the characters who have their own ability, but the arms are defining attacks and specials. So yeah, I think I do think if you make a sequel, in order to separate, you got to do something big, and maybe that's a way is instead of the arms being, but then it's kind of what sets arms apart. This is why I don't think there'll be another arms. I think it's just a game that, the point of arms is that the arms are the focus. So if you make it the characters the focus, then what do you do? Then there's no arm choice anymore.
Yeah,
or there still is arm choice,
but
the characters also have different moves that they use the arms.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Yeah, better minds than ours are going to figure this out, hopefully.
Instead of ARMS 2, let's make SSX Tricky 2 for the Switch.
Okay.
But, Gabe, I have an important announcement for you. I'm just taking 2 comments in a row because this one is all me. Fi says that Astro Bears is getting a new bear! Gabe, a new bear is coming to my favorite game under $5 in the world.
Good.
Look at this, baby. Y'all thought Astro Bears was done? You thought it was just a fun game for 15 minutes? A new bear. I saw a lot of people say, of course Astro Bears is on this list. Of course Astro Bears is on this. You got to give it a chance, my dudes.
Zach loves Astro Bears.
It's really cool.
And I feel guilty because I told him about Astro Bears.
Why do you feel guilty?
I created a monster.
Oh, but it's such a good monster, man.
All right.
It's so good. I love it so much. It's fun. You know what's not as fun, though, Gabe?
What's not as fun?
It doesn't look like Sonic Mania Plus is as fun.
Steve0680 says, what a lame cash grab. These new characters are literally Sonic and Tails. All this stuff should have just come with the collector's edition that was released. Huh. Look, Zach, from what I
don't like the characters either.
From what I hear, the characters and the new mode and stuff, that's just all going to be free DLC if you already have the game. So, if you already have the game, then no harm, no foul. This is just for the A, really hardcore Sonic fans, and B, the people that didn't pick it up because they wanted it physical. So, I'm perfectly fine with it. It's only a $10 premium, and yeah, the 2 characters might not be the best characters. I don't know, they look kind of weird. One's an armadillo, and one is basically Tails. Mm-hmm. I'm probably still going to play the game again. It's such a fun game.
Yeah, I don't think it's, offensive in any way. I wish that they were more exciting new characters, or we'll have to see how the new mode is. Holographic packaging, Gabe, does that tickle your fancy?
A little bit. Hey, I'm more into the reversible Sega Genesis cover. That looks really cool to me.
Yeah, that is Sonic. But a better expansion, in my opinion, is what David Guido Gaming is talking about. He says he's very hyped for the Octo expansion of 80 levels. As a result, I will be purchasing Splatoon this week. I held off because I felt Splatoon 2 was going to be a copy of Splatoon 1, but after this direct on Splatoon 2, I did some research and found that there is a buttload of extra stuff. I'm actually really sad now that I didn't pick it up on release day. And I wondered if with the launch of the Starter Edition this week and the eventual Pearl and Marina amiibo and the Octo expansion, if we'll see a resurgence of Splatoon and maybe even a reassessment of Splatoon 2 like David here is doing, because they're starting to recognize that it's not just a 1.5, that it very much is a wholly new game and is a holy game.
Whoa.
It's one of the Switch's divine titles.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing it a ton, and there is even more like multiplayer stuff coming. They're constantly upgrading that. We have the rank X thing now that, David, you're going to have some time to get to that, since you're just going to be starting. But, a repackaging for the exact same price is just released yesterday, one of these days. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's a good time to jump on board. The single-player stuff in Splatoon 2 is really, really fun. I had I had tried it when it came out, but I was more into the multiplayer. But now going back and playing that, I'm very excited. Octo expansion is like legit something I'm hyped for, and I can't wait.
Absolutely.
With that, though, we're going to move on to the last comment of the day. George Castilla. Man, you always give me these names. Mm-hmm. Jorge Castilla. I can say that in Spanish. I've been hitting people with these Spanish. And he says, you guys hit the nail on the head when you brought up NetherRealm Studios. Smash just needs a traditional ladder with an attached story like any other fighter. With the Street Fighter Alpha series, for instance, you usually just fight different foes with a mid-boss and a final boss that is influenced by the character you selected. You can also go to the Mortal Kombat 9 route, where you watch a cutscene between battles and play as different characters as the story progresses. These options make much more sense for what is essentially a fighting game instead of trying to program and balance a platforming game into what is already a demanding fighting game for Sakurai and his team to develop.
I agree with this.
Yeah,
I would love to see something along these lines. I don't know that you need to try and blow it out into like a level-based subspace mode. I think that this would be pretty cool, especially if there were cutscenes, between the battles. To me, that would be the essential part, because, Smash has had sort of arcade modes where you go through the characters, but what could set it apart is if there was a story that was utilizing the already existing stages and already existing roster to tell a tale of Nintendo glory. And I saw some people say, hey, we need voices. I mean, look, they're going to make a Mario movie with voice Mario. Why not? Give us some. If this is a new game, give us a freaking voiced storyline. That would be awesome. It's not going to happen, but it would be awesome.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. Like, what's Kirby's voice? What's... I mean, Pikachu kind of has a voice. You just Pika. But it becomes so tricky because there's so many characters. It's not going to get voice, guys. That's not happening.
No. But I do think going the NetherRealm route is definitely one to watch out for, and I wonder if they will sort of take that. Again, we don't know what the structure of this game is or what's being borrowed and what's being brought brand new, but we do know that that's Comment Force 53, and we are ready, Gabe, for the greatest segment of the week, Advice.
I have mine ready this week.
Go for it, baby.
Appreciation. Appreciate what you have, and that's easier said than done, right? We live in our enclosed little bubbles, but if you look outside the bubble every once in a while, you'll see that not everybody has things as well as you do. And maybe sometimes things aren't going your way. Life might not be super easy. I don't think it's ever meant to be easy. But there's always someone that has it worse than you. And it's important to keep that in mind. So appreciate the people that you do have around you, and whatever circumstances you may be in. They may seem dire, but just remember somebody's dealing with something probably worse. And it's important to be positive and try to keep that in mind. But yeah, appreciate whatever you have to whatever extent you can.
Nice. I'm going to say embrace your emotions. Let it flow. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be super happy. It's okay to be super sad. And sometimes when you tune into that, you'll have just unintentional breakthroughs or realizations that trying to keep everything all tucked together, you don't really as easily come across. And be vulnerable. It's okay. Tell someone that you're hurt. Tell someone that you're sad. Cry at a cute movie. It's okay. Like, you don't have to be a tough guy. You don't have to be a tough girl. It'll be all right.
Zach, stop being a tough guy.
I cried like 5 times in the movie last night. Gabe, the only time I'm tough is when you watch my punches. I basically should be in Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, all right, guys, let's vote Zach. If there's like a voting to get a new character in, let's get Zach in there.
I definitely want you in over me, though.
People keep saying that. I saw comments.
You could just be a skin for Wario.
No, a little smaller than that, but.
Well, okay, like Wario is working out on WarioWare Gold. And now he's digivolved into Gabe.
Okay.
Is that all right?
No.
You don't want to be the evolution of Wario?
No.
What do you want to be the evolution of?
Kirby.
Captain Toad?
Kirby.
You want to be the evolved form of Captain Toad who gets to do all the crime solving. You want to be the fusion of Professor Layton and Captain Toad.
Basically.
And basically we'll be back for 54 next week. Thanks so much for all your comments. Keep them coming. This week is looking like one full of Titans and mature rated Swish adventures. Also, a Nindy showcase and hopefully a surprise Hollow Knight drop at the end of the week to end this month. I'm freaking feeling like it's happening. I'm feeling it, Gabe.
Guys, we have no context for this.
No.
Zach is just guessing. I don't know.
My skin is tingling.
I don't know what he's talking about.
My skin is tingling. Your cat is like freaking out. I think it's because of Hollow Knight coming.
Also because of the surgery, but okay.
Anyways, that'll do it. Thanks so much for watching, guys and girls. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Subscribe if you find this fun. Join us on Discord if you are cool. Check us out on Twitter if you want to tickle Gabe. And maybe even vote for us in Smash Brothers if you want to see the world become a better place. Until that time, though, for myself and Gabe, thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. We love you. Switch Force out.